Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Kevin, and you're in the right place now that you've clicked on this video. And you are with other folks of like mind, sharp minds, ready to dig into the real stories behind these fake headlines. More importantly, if you're tired of the mainstream spin and crave unfiltered takes without a monthly membership expense, you're in the right spot. Today, we're diving into a heated debate. Who delivers the news better, Kari Lake or Jen Psaki? From Kari's independent fire to Jen Psaki's cleverly crafted and curated polished talking points from producers and AI, we're breaking it all down. Place your votes in the chat, folks, in the comment section down below, and let everybody know who you're backing, who you're supporting here. We're all about truth, not fluff. No corporate funding, no agendas, unlike some news outlets. Just straight talk like Kari Lake herself. Stick around, folks, as we unpack why the left's media machine is losing steam and why voices like Newsmax, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly are shaking things up. If you love content that respects your intelligence, hit that subscribe button. Join our growing community of happy, like-minded patriots here. We're over 220,000 subscribers. Maybe we'll hit 221,000 here soon. Either way, let's go ahead and dive right in and get started.
The New York Times had a piece about that this week, pointing out that Democrats don't have the same independent media backers that Republicans do. Democrats throw money at a problem countering GOP clout online. And you think about it, Kari, so it's not even to plug Newsmax, but there is no Newsmax of the left. They've got CNN and MSNBC to the Fox and Newsmax, but they don't have a Megyn Kelly podcast. They don't have a Tucker Carlson. How big a problem is that for them moving forward?
Well, they've never had to view it as a problem because they owned all the media. I mean, they had all of the main broadcasting networks where they were using, and really in many cases, the Mockingbird media. There was CIA influence. I mean, Radio Free Asia RFA started with was a CIA funded operation. So you can tie these links right back to the CIA, and they've always, the left has always owned the media.
Now, I did come across a video here recently that described how Newsmax was getting their funding from George Soros. Now, I don't get my funding from. And although there is no definitive evidence that Newsmax received funding from George Soros, claims about Soros funding various media outlets, including Newsmax, often circulate in political discourse, but they typically lack sustained proof when scrutinized. Newsmax, a conservative media outlet, has been critical of Soros in its reporting, which makes direct funding from him unlikely. For instance, Newsmax has published articles alleging Soros's influence in other areas, such as funding progressive groups or media initiatives, but none confirm him funding Newsmax itself. Soros is known for supporting liberal and progressive causes through his Open Society foundations, which have donated to various media-related organizations, but no credible reports or financial records link these contributions directly to Newsmax. Allegations of Soros funding often stem from broader conspiracy theories or misinterpretations of his philanthropy, as noted in analysis of his media influence. Without concrete financial documents or transparent disclosures showing a direct transaction, such claims remain speculative. Always approach such allegations with skepticism and verify through primary sources like financial filings or official statements. Speaking of official statements, I want you guys to take a look at this. As Newsmax just said, there is a secret cabal of people behind the scenes working to destroy America, and they all share one thing in common. They went on to show a picture of George Soros saying, and I quote, "You know what that one thing is? Cultural Marxism." This first comment reads, "It's so funny. I'm enjoying this more than I should." And he then said, "A handful of wealthy people are manipulating our economy and currency." Guess who he blames? The radical left. Holy shit, I love this crying, laughing face emoji. It's all manufactured by a handful of guilt-ridden billionaires, while he keeps showing George Soros. They then had two Jewish fellows on to talk about how Jewish people in Israel are helping fight this evil cabal of cultural Marxists and radical leftists. You can't make this up.
And controlled the narrative. And because of the lies that were told and the awakening that's happened in America and around the globe, people demanded other sources for information. That's where these great podcasts that you mentioned have come from.
Yeah.
That's why Newsmax grew, because you guys were willing to, at an uncomfortable time, stick your necks out and tell the truth, even though it meant you were going to be called names. You know, everyone said,
we were.
And spreading misinformation. They threw those words around, tried to censor you. And thankfully, outlets like yours, and there are others out there, have trudged forward and said, we don't care, we're going to tell the truth. It's been very revealed. It's been revealed to everybody that the fake news media has been lying and deceiving us. And at the same time, we're seeing an outgrowth of really incredible new wave of journalists that have come forward.
One of the things we've seen recently is the dismantling of the Office of Public Integrity, which historically, typically, if people are going to, from the part of the Justice Department, it's the part of the Justice Department supposed to make sure prosecutions of lawmakers aren't political. What do you make of the dismantling of that?
All right. So the discussion here, as we will further unpack, compares Kari Lake and Jen Psaki's approach to news and media influence. Kari Lake, appearing on Newsmax, argues that the left has historically controlled mainstream media, which she claims has ties to entities like the CIA and none other than George Soros. She contrasts this with independent conservative media like Newsmax, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly, which she says gained traction by challenging the fake news and the fake news' narrative and offering unfiltered truth. Kari Lake emphasizes the rise of grassroots, low-budget media that prioritizes content over polish, cough, cough, Jen Psaki, resonating with audiences disillusioned by traditional outlets and, you know, not really in it for the razzle-dazzle of the set piece of Jen Psaki's briefings, the briefing with Jen Psaki. And she sees this as a response to the left's reliance on top-down propaganda, which she claims is losing credibility. One motherfucker at a time. Did you see? Did you hear?
Relative to Vice President Kamala Harris, she has an interview with Anderson Cooper post-debate. You write about this in the book. By the way, I've got to do an eats, shoots, and leaves, if you remember the book, and the importance of punctuation. I've got to do an eats, shoots, and leaves analysis of one graph of your book, Alex, and it comes on page 290, and it's getting a lot of attention today. This MFer doesn't treat me like the damn Vice President of the United States, she said to colleagues. I thought we were better than that. I'm being real persnickety now, but there are not quotation marks around that in the book. Is that a direct quote from Kamala Harris about Anderson Cooper?
I will go back to my copy, but my understanding is that it is. That she was incredibly frustrated with Anderson Cooper asking the same question over and over again, which Anderson Cooper, this was the night of the debate, Anderson was like, have you ever seen him act that way behind the scenes? Because if the Vice President of the United States had seen the president act that way on, behind the scenes as he had acted on the debate stage and said nothing, I think it would have been incredibly indicting. But, Kamala Harris, I can tell you 100% was infuriated after that interview.
Kamala Harris is done. And to think she thinks she can win California as governor. She's got about as good a chance as Kari Lake has as winning Arizona. However, Jen Psaki, in an interview with James Comey, is portrayed as defending establishment principles like the Office of Public Integrity while accusing Republicans of abandoning precedent. The critique highlights her perceived hypocrisy, such as defending Biden's vacation time in 2021, but criticizing President Trump's in 2025, suggesting a lack of consistent principles. Psaki is framed as part of a polished elite media that contrasts with Lake's raw independent style. And let's just be honest, we don't like Jen Psaki. The comparison here paints Lake as a voice of the emerging truth-focused conservative media, like If You Agree, while Psaki represents a declining, agenda-driven establishment that is losing viewership, dwindling in ratings, and soon to be defunct, canceled, sold off, everyone fired, laid off, terminated. Now, I'm sure you all favor Kari Lake's approach, and we should all celebrate the growth of alternative media as a counter to traditional outlets and their bias.
They've cut staff, they've tried to cut their role. What does that mean? What should people understand about it?
These are the people who, through decades and decades, have seen every kind of case. And so they're there to make sure that the work, no matter who's in charge in the White House, no matter who the Attorney General is, that the work is done consistently with previous practice and consistent with the law. I know Republicans these days aren't big in thinking about principle or precedent. They're going to be deeply sorry that that disappears, because someday there will be a Democratic president and there'll be investigations of Republican office holders.
Well, someday, Comey is a pipe dream. We're living in the now. We're living in today. And I don't know if I would necessarily take anything that someone like James Comey has to say seriously, as he doesn't even know what a rock formation means on a beach that's set out to read 8647. But he thought it was interesting as he throws his wife under the bus and decides to post it on social media. Give me a fucking break. Speaking of investigations, or better yet, reinvestigations, thank you, Sarah, for sending this email as I'm making this video. And The Guardian says, FBI to reinvestigate 2023 White House cocaine discovery and leak of Supreme Court Dobbs draft. Oh, this ought to be good. This ought to be good. Agency also announced new inquiry into pipe bombs found outside Democratic and Republican offices in 2021. Which I won't go off on too much of a tangent, but let me know in the comments if you'd like me to bring this up in the next video. As Eric Doherty shares just moments ago, breaking, Deputy Director Dan Bongino announces the FBI has ramped up investigation into the January 6 DC pipe bomb, the discovery of cocaine at Biden's White House, and the leak of the overturning of Roe v. Wade decision. Bongino also says he and Kash Patel have limited their media footprint to keep attention on the work being done. Perhaps maybe it's because the internet was losing its freaking mind the last time Dan Bongino and Kash Patel were sitting side by side on camera. But what are your thoughts on it?
As a public defender, as a prosecutor who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a side when you see one, and that's what that was.
Himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He himself.
The president said today that he was sent here to look out for these working and middle class families who are strained right now. So what should they read into him leaving now at this time of great personal financial hardship for so many to go to Nantucket for the week?
Well, first I would say, Peter, that I hope you're spending time with your family. I'm spending time with my family, and I hope everybody in here is spending time with their families. This is a time to put politics aside, spend time with your loved ones, and talk about what you're grateful for. I will also tell you from spending some time working for this president and a past president that you are president no matter where you are. He will conduct his work from wherever he is, on any vacation, on any time he is in Delaware, at Camp David, or wherever he may be spending time with his loved ones. He has secure phone capabilities. He has staff traveling with him. And I think the American people can be assured that he will continue to press to lower their costs and ensure they have more breathing room.
First, I want to take a moment, though, to talk about a bit about something important. And that's something hopefully you're all experiencing right now, personal time. Hopefully this holiday weekend, you're able to take some of your own personal time to reflect or be with family or friends or barbecuing or going to the pool or whatever you may be doing. However, there's at least one person who is generally not afforded the privilege of personal time. And that person is the President of the United States, no matter who they are.
Well, I can assure you all, as this won't be hard to fact check, that President Biden didn't lower costs for anybody. Okay. Well, that is unless you needed insulin. They capped the price of insulin, which, if you really want to split hairs, the previous administration, which would have been the Trump administration, did that. But yeah. But who's counting, right? This is about the benefit, the overall good for the American people, right? And Jen Psaki did forget to mention one thing. She's forgot to mention that no matter wherever Joe Biden was at the time, his auto pen was always secure in some back room for which Benny Johnson found and was able to take a selfie with. But Jen Psaki, being the hypocrite that she is, even, previously, or perhaps maybe even forgetting some of the lies that she's told, or the slants and leans that the Smith-Mundt Act allows her to continue to allow her the ability to, without legal ramifications and consequences, propagandize this rhetoric to push the left's failing agenda. Jen Psaki says Biden, this is back in 2021, is so fit that she has trouble keeping up with him. Biden is the oldest president in American history. And now, obviously, we know that Biden wasn't quite what she or the left and the media really wanted everyone to believe he was, for which I don't think anybody ever really did, especially after the debate, the disastrous debate, after the emergency flight from Las Vegas to Rehoboth, Delaware, and then dropping out of the race by way of a auto-pen signed tweet posted. Thanks, Pelosi. Thanks, Obama. God, when you think back on what a kerfuffle that was, it really makes it look so much worse than what really happened. But it was so entertaining to watch and be a part of at the same time. I do have one more clip that I want to share with you right before I share with you the most important message of all, and that's ways in which you can save money. Thanks to our partner chapter for free Medicare help and a free Medicare consultation. It's very simple, and it's very simple to call our partner chapter for your free Medicare help, free Medicare consultation at 270-467-2426, and tell them Kevin sent you. And while you have them on the phone, ask them about your Medicare plan. Ask them if it's the best plan for you, and ask them if there are ways in which you can save money. Or better yet, ask Chapter how to redeem your over-the-counter credits with the Chapter OTC app. The easiest way to redeem your Medicare Advantage OTC benefit and order from home delivered to your door, no out-of-pocket costs. Again, it's simple and it's free. Call our partner chapter 270-467-2426 or visit them by clicking the link down below in the description or in the pinned comment, askchapter.org/Kevin. That's askchapter.org/KEVIN, or just pick up the phone and dial 270-467-2426. Thank you all for joining me. That's going to do it for this video. As promised, one more clip to close out. Carrie Lake on Newsmax, the legacy media lied about Biden's decline for years. I can't wait to read all your comments down below and look forward to reading the comments of your experience, and better yet, how much money, if possible, you were able to save after calling Chapter. And before we go, I would like to say, let's honor the fallen this Memorial Day and remember those who gave everything. Thank you all so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for engaging in this conversation. Thank you for liking this video and sharing and subscribing. Thank you all so much. And God bless America. God bless the USA.
A long time, Carrie, can you think of a story, local or national, recently where the media has told the truth and nothing but the truth? I can't.
I want to say that not all media has been dishonest. There are some really good people out there in the media. I think Newsmax has done a good job. We've seen some new media kind of sprouting up in the middle of all of this fake news with, all of these outlets that have no ratings. Nobody wants to watch them. People are waking up to their lies. But at the same time, we're seeing alternative news growing, and it's becoming more powerful. And so I think there's a real bright spot still to come for the media.